There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
Good, Big O. Getting ready to go to Toronto in a few hours. It'll be a lot colder than it is right now where I'm at.
Oh, so let me ask you: do any of the writers over the years? Because when I used to go to Buffalo, and I would go a couple times to Buffalo, there was always some kind of writer that wanted to get some kind of aspirins from Canada. So we'd drive over to Toronto, and then he'd come back with a bottle of some kind of aspirin or some crap like that. So anybody out there getting some special stuff from Toronto?
Not that I know of. Ira and I are a pretty boring group, so
Yeah.
we go in, go to the hotel, cover the game, go home.
Right. Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it. That sounds like, the action that, Sean Stanley does, when we go to Vegas.
There
I'm
you
going to
go.
concerts every night, and he's just sitting there editing.
Yeah, it's working. It's a work. It's a business trip.
Yeah, someone's got work to do, Anthony, right? Tell him.
Exactly. So one of us, someone's got to do it. If it's not going to be Big O, you got to do it, Sean.
I do my work. Come on. It's just, I have different times when I can do my work, I work hard and I get it done, and then I play hard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I
nothing
mean,
wrong with that. I'm going to Vegas
that
this
was
weekend. I'm gonna go see U2 Friday and
nice.
Saturday at the Sphere. So
Awesome. I've heard I know some people who've been. I think you've been right before.
yes, I went for
I've
opening
heard
night.
it's awesome. I've heard
It
it's
is
incredible.
amazing. It's
Nice.
they what they did was, brother, they perfected the sound of a concert,
Mhm.
which is that's the amazing part of the Sphere. Yeah, they've got all the imaging and all that other
Right.
stuff that goes with it, and the shape of the whole thing, but the sound, I've never heard a building sound better than what I heard that night. So I'm looking forward. This time I'm on the floor actually on Friday,
Nice.
Saturday
Nice.
on the floor. I was in the 200 section for opening night. Now I'm going to be on the floor next to the band for both nights. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun, man. So we're gonna have a lot of fun doing all of this. All right, let's get into a little Heat Raptors action. Where are we at health wise going into this game?
We're gonna find out in a few hours when they practice here. The Heat are practicing at Kaseya Center before they fly to Toronto this afternoon. Um, Obviously, Tyler Hero is a question mark, right? I don't think he'll be back
Yeah,
for
yeah,
Toronto.
right.
I wouldn't expect him back probably until at least the end of the week or maybe next week. Haywood Highsmith now is a question because after he said it was a different injury, but it looked like he re-aggravated the lower back injury. He fell into the stanchion and he immediately grabbed that lower back. So he's obviously his status is in question. Josh Richardson banged knees with a player late in that Pacers game on Saturday. He had to leave the game early, so we'll see about him. It's good that they've had a couple of days off, so that should help. And then Bam has already been ruled out for the game in Toronto. He's not even traveling with the team, so it's another game without Bam with I guess Orlando Robinson or Thomas Bryant starting probably. So yeah, not going to be 100%, but how shorthanded they'll be, we're going to see in a few hours.
I would imagine it's going to be Orlando Robinson starting, right?
I would think so, but with the way the defense looked against Indiana, and not that Thomas Bryant will do much better, I don't know if Spo want to change things up and go with the veteran. Maybe I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Orlando again. I'm just not sure. I mean, it
I
could be
I I
Thomas.
I just think Thomas is a reserve role player type. He's not a starter type.
Right.
And I think that at times, you know, I think Thomas Bryant is a good pickup by the Heat. The problem is you have not put him in the role that you really need him in. And then there are times now this year in this short window that we've had of a season, from what I've noticed, you're putting him in positions where you're asking him to do too much.
Too much. Yeah.
And I think that that's not who he is. And so if you're throwing it down into the paint and you want him to start, playing a paint game and posting, that's not who he is. He's the guy that picks up the garbage points, the putbacks. He's the guy that sets the picks. He's the guy who gets the rebounds for you, puts
Yeah.
out the outlet pass. That's it. That's kind of who you want him to be. If you start making him have to be more a part of what makes a difference in the game offensively and those kind, you're putting him where he doesn't belong and he's not going to look comfortable, you know what I mean? So that's why I think Orlando Robinson, while he is very deliberate to be
Right.
nice, as a player, he actually is effective. He knows what he's doing, and I think he just fits that role right now better than Thomas Bryant. That's why.
Yeah, I mean Orlando's definitely skilled for sure,
Yeah,
definitely. The issue with Thomas is it's not really even the offense. It's the defense, which has always been the issue for him his entire career. He's talented offensive big. He does a good toucher on the basket.
yeah,
He's proven to make threes over his career when he's open. It's just defensively, that was a knock on him. Everyone was like, why is he setting for the minimum? That doesn't make any sense.
right.
Why didn't he play for the Denver last year? Why did DeAndre Jordan play ahead of him in the playoffs? For the Nuggets last season? The defensive metrics for him have not been good, and you've seen some of the issues even early on this year. He has the tools to be a good defender. He's trying to adjust to the system. It just hasn't come together yet. So that's been I think the bigger issue for Thomas Bryant. And not that Orlando Robinson is a great defender. He's still growing. He's gotten a little bit better. He's not the most athletic big man, so that limits him a little bit. But he's been in the system now for 2+ years, or 2 years. So that helps and gives him an advantage over Thomas.
Not that they would ever tell you, not that we will ever find out or anything like that. But did they really want to advance in the tournament?
I mean, I'll take their word for it because it's the Heat, and they just love like you put them in a competition, they're always going to want to win. At least Spoelstra, he's always going to want to go. He's always going to want to win. Like they're never going to try to lose something. I mean, you never see this team tank, right?
No.
But
Was that
there
F
are some,
the other night, like,
yeah. Well, I think
like, by the way, I don't blame them
right
because I'm thinking if their schedule would have gotten even uglier here over the next couple days, they've had enough with injuries, bro.
enough
They don't
travel.
need
Imagine going to Vegas. Imagine going to
yeah,
Vegas straight to
dude,
Charlotte to no. It's
they don't need this shit, dude. This is,
right.
some of these teams that don't win anything, for them to win this, maybe that's good for them, some of these teams. But for a team like the Heat, they're about hanging championship banners,
Sure,
dude. What
sure.
are you getting a ring for the
I don't think so.
in-season
Bring
tournament?
a trophy.
Are you hanging a banner for the in-season trophy? Are you are we having a parade for the in-season trophy? I mean, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, really, it's an in-season tournament,
Yeah.
bro. Come on, you know what I'm saying?
No.
So there's a part of me that I was like kind of happy
Yeah.
that they didn't have to do. I know the players have to, especially Jimmy, but I'm actually like really satisfied with that because all that is more risk for injury for this team. And for me, the way I look at the Heat, I look at the big picture, the macro, not the micro, bro. I don't give a shit about your stupid little in-season tournament. I want to see what the Heat can do in the postseason. And that's what they've been showing me every year the last 4
Right.
years under Jimmy, that they're going to do something pretty special in the postseason. That's what I want.
Yeah, and also I think it's interesting that there's a little bit of an incentive to not make it to the quarterfinals of the in-season tournament because you're likely going to face a lesser team if you don't make it, right? Because you're facing the teams that don't make it. You might face the Celtics who make the quarterfinals. You might face Milwaukee, even the Knicks who have been playing well. Instead, you're facing Toronto, which Toronto's not a bad team, but they have a losing record, right? So and those are regular season games; those matter. So if you're a team, would you rather face the Celtics in Boston or Toronto in Toronto? I mean, so it's interesting that there is a little bit of an incentive to not make it to that round because you're going to face better teams, and those better teams will count. Those games will count toward your regular season record.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there, man. It just to me, I was like, after watching what would have
Yeah,
hate having to play the same team twice.
yeah,
That makes it so impossible for teams to just sweep because it's just so hard to do in the NBA. It makes it that much harder because once teams lose to you, brother, it's in their blood. Like, no, hell no, dude, we're not losing 2 in a row to these people. And so the next night they're going to come back at you with a vengeance. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
it's just a quirky thing that I don't like in the schedule, but I'm glad overall that,
yeah.
they're not in this tournament and they're now getting more of a burden on the team. All right, as for Bam, you're getting the feeling like, hey Bam, we're gonna we're going to get you right. We're not going to rush this, right?
Yeah, I think so. And they said he would be day to day after the Toronto game, so that doesn't necessarily mean he'll be back Friday when they return home to face the Cavs.
Right.
But this part of the schedule gives them some time to take off, like we talked about last week. Like they haven't played since Saturday.
Yeah.
He hasn't played since Thursday, so he's gonna miss 2 games and be able to rest a week because he's gonna miss the Saturday game, tomorrow's game, and then they don't play again until Friday. And
Right.
even if he misses Friday, they don't play again until Monday. So he could
Yeah.
technically miss 3 games and take like 10 days off, which is, I mean, if you're taking 10 days off, only missing 3 games, that's a big win. So I think it's smart what they're doing. And look, they've tried. Bam doesn't like missing games. He's always gonna push to play, which is why he's missed 1 game, come back, re-injured it, missed another game, come back. He doesn't like missing games, but I think they finally got to him like, look, do you want to keep doing this where you come back for 2 games, get hit again in the hip, miss another game? So I think they're trying to get it back to 100% where it's not a lingering thing where you have to worry about him re-aggravating it.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, man. I'm glad that they're doing it. And by the way, these days are really good for Jaquez because, we talked about this the last time we were on. That, you worry about that rookie wall because he's going to be playing a lot of basketball. And because he's playing a lot of basketball right now, these days here for his body, I'm happy for him. You know what I'm saying? Jovic is how much time are they going to give him down in the G League?
I think they're going to give him, I don't know how much, but he's going to go down there again. The plan is definitely for him to go down there again. I think for a longer stint too. So I think the last one was like a week.
Right.
As long as they're semi-healthy, we see he's not in the rotation, obviously.
Yeah,
He's
that's
20
what I'm
years
saying.
old. He
Yeah.
needs playing time. Go send him down there. And by the way, he wants to play. Like I talked to him. He's like, look, if I'm not going to play here, the only way I'm going to get better is if I continue playing. I
Exactly.
want to go to the G League and play. So they haven't sent him down there again yet, but I would imagine at some point soon he'll be going to Sioux Falls again to get more run.
And listen, if I'm Jovic, right, I want to go to the G League. Why? Because indirectly, that's going to get you playing time here.
Right.
Because that's already happened in the past. That these borderline guys, they send them back down, and then the guy goes back down there and just smokes those fools down there and starts balling and just putting up numbers. And you're like, okay, dude, this is not doing any good for him. We need to bring him up because he's ready to, help us contribute here. And in practice, yeah, you can have your little moments and all that, but it's not a game.
Right.
So it's hard for you to break through that glass ceiling unless you're literally playing. So if he goes down there and he hits a game winner and he carries a team and he gets a couple big rebounds or whatever, they're going to go, okay, wait a minute. This guy, he's doing something down there. We need to bring him back up again. And that's kind of been the history of the Heat lately with some of these guys that when you're on that border, if you go back down there and you start kicking ass, usually you end up here and you're done. You're locked in.
Yeah.
So for me, if Jovic is actually I think he's with the right attitude. Let me go down there and prove to these guys that I don't belong here. I belong there with them.
Yeah, and look, I mean, look at Jamal Cain and Orlando Robinson the last few games
Right.
with injuries. They were just in the G League like a week or two ago, and
Right.
now they're in the rotation because of injuries. Eric Spoelstra has mentioned multiple times too. He's like, I like sending those guys to the G League because they get in a rhythm. It's good for them. They're not playing
Yes.
here. They
Yes.
get a couple games under the belt in Sioux Falls, and yes, the G League, but they're finding their rhythm. They're gaining more confidence as opposed to just sitting on the bench and cheering. For
By
the
the way, they're
team.
not all kids in the G League. There's some men in the G
Well,
League.
yeah,
So
yeah,
so it's not like those kids are going. It's not like Jovic is going down there and playing with a bunch of guys
no,
that look just like him. No, dude, he's playing with a couple guys that are against guys that are 5, 7, 8 years older than him and develop bodies, and that's really good for him.
and fighting for their basketball lives. I mean, those
Yes.
most of those guys are just trying to do whatever it takes to continue their basketball career, whether it's in the NBA or overseas or even in the G League.
Right. Exactly.
So it is a very competitive environment for sure.
Yes. Yeah. No doubt about it. All right. What are you working on the Herald, man? So folks can check you out.
Yeah. So yesterday I posted a story, just 20 things to know from the first 20 games, looking at the Heat's offense and defense, where it's trending, the most used lineups, things Jaime Jaquez has done, more on Bam, more on Tyler, the Jimmy Bam Tyler trio, kind of how they fared together in the limited time they've played together. And just honestly, the main takeaway is it's weird because it's a lot of the same guys from the last few seasons, but injuries unfortunately have kind of prevented us from really seeing what this team can really be. Because I think Bam, Jimmy, and Tyler played 6 games together, or the first 20. This team hasn't been healthy. It's the same thing as last season. So It's unfortunate, but I would think soon if Bam can come back at some point, which I think he will at some point soon. Tyler looks like he'll be back in a week or two. And if Jimmy can stay healthy, we'll finally get to see hopefully an extended stretch of those 3 guys playing together. And then we can really see this team and what it can be.
Follow him on Twitter at Anthony_Chiang. Catch his work there at the Miami Herald. Anthony, as always, thank you, my brother. We will talk later on in the week.
For sure. Thanks, Big. Have a good week.
Thank you, sir. Safe travels to you. That is Anthony Chiang of the Miami Herald and our BaptistHealth.net/ortho Miami Heat report. And we love the people at Baptist Health. How can I not love them? My daughter was born there. My wife fixed her jaw there. I fixed my heart there. Colonoscopy. Broken finger for my daughter. Karate thing. What else? I mean, it doesn't end. And Baptist Health has always been there for us. And we've got locations all over throughout South Florida, all the way down from the Keys, all the way up to Palm Beach County. And folks, if you have an injury that's keeping you from doing what you love, take charge of your health and get back into the game with the help of the all-pro staff at Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. And they've got a new location right at the new stadium at Hard Rock Stadium. Yeah, it's not just for the players, but it's also for the neighborhood. So if you live in that neighborhood, you've got a Baptist Health facility right there, 9500 Northwest 58th Street in Doral. You can find one there. Marathon Key at Fisherman's Community, 3301 Overseas Highway. In Tavernier Key, Mariners Hospital, 91500 Overseas Highway. In Boynton Beach, we've got 2 locations, Bethesda East and West, the Miami Cancer Institute, the Miami Main Hospital and 89th and Kendall Drive, West Kendall Baptist, 95th and 162nd, Boca Raton Regional, 800 Meadows Road there in Boca. Locations all throughout South Florida. It's the hospital that the Alzugaray family can count on, and I know your family can count on it too. BaptistHealth.net/ortho.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.